Welcome to Sober Shenanigans. Real talk and real recovery, sharing stories, old and new, trying to stay on the right path and help others just like you. So feel our flow and get on with the show. Here's your hosts, Stauff and Primo.
Make sure you turn them up too, because Cap was a little low last week.
Well. That's it. Can you hear that?
Oh, yeah, I can hear it.
He likes to go fast in the Cybertruck, this cat. This Brooklyn Mason is a...
He does?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't like it. I like it.
It was, I don't know what G-force he had me at, but it was pretty high level.
Yeah, you were cruising for a bruising there, buddy. I was a little worried. So how is your sound? Keep talking.
I can hear you perfect. How about me?
Yeah, I think it's good.
You need a little more bass or...
Well, no. I mean, do you do impressions at all?
Well, I can, but I don't...
Should hear Greg. Greg
He's 3, right? He's just him?
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure he's up.
All right, Greg is...
I don't do impressions.
Listen to this voice, though. Do you hear this voice this guy has?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
So,
Well, you were on the radio, right? That right?
Yeah, I've been on the radio. I was I toured as a rapper for a while.
Oh,
Then I did a lot of radio interviews that way.
that's cool. What kind of rap?
Old school back in the 90s, like yeah.
So, you know what? I
New
want
York,
I
East
want
Coast
you to
New
get
York.
comfortable, Mason. So why don't we do this? I want you to pull up a little bit and then pull the mic towards you and kind of relax. Because you're kind of standing like this a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Are you comfortable? How do you feel like that? Now, you want to get a little bit closer to... See how when I go away like this, you look at what I'm doing. See how I get in, and then it gets right in here, and then you can see it over here, and then it's really good over here, and then it's not so good over here. And
Well, maybe if I
Yeah.
there you go. I like that. But I want you to be comfortable, because we're gonna grill you like a 4th of July hot dog.
that as far as it turns.
Yeah.
I can fix that.
Yeah, you want to maybe if we're not videoing and we spin him this way, that way it's direction.
We're gonna try it.
Okay.
How is that for you?
I think it's good. If you're comfortable with that, I can move it
No, I'm good.
away just a little bit.
Wherever I sound the best.
Babyface Mason. I like it. You still have a baby face.
People said, when did you get sober? When you were 8 years old.
Yeah. Oh, he got sober at 28 himself or 25.
I like that for you.
That's 30 years ahead of me. Took me till 54 to find the room.
Well, we're not gonna.
And I wish I'd have found it much earlier.
Hey, I think we're good right there. But
So Dr. Bob's last words to Bill Wilson were, Bill, let's not louse this thing up. Let's keep it simple.
All right.
that is true.
Louse.
You know what I'm going to do with these super mics? I'm just going to put them on the table.
Thing up.
So anyway, when they took me to my first speaking engagement, they said, "Oh, it's a small meeting. It's not going to be, no big deal. You'll do great." And I got there, and it was there were 300 people there. It was a candlelit room, and I got up there. I sounded like Ralph Cramden, humming. And then I spoke for 10 minutes, and sat down, and I thought, I thought I was up there an hour.
Yeah.
And they said, you did great. And what they said was, you said everything you needed to say. And the reason that happened was because I asked God to speak for me, because I didn't know what the hell
Yeah.
it was pretty scary at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that story. It's a good story.
But they didn't have many young people when I came in.
Is that why they convinced you to speak?
No,
You a young guy?
no, they just said 90 days you go out speaking. Yeah.
We want to definitely let's talk
Wow.
about what we're going to touch on today. So we got some sober royalty here. We got 49 years.
Yep.
Okay.
Still not an old timer though.
No, not according to. So we want to talk about his resentment. That after 49 years, he picked up a small resentment at the international, where he wanted to be recognized as the old timers, and they said no, you have to have 50 years. So we got to.
When I started, it was 25 years, and then when I got to 25 years, they raised it to 40, and then when I got to 40 years, they raised it to 50. So now, but I'm going to the Florida convention next summer, and I'm going to be 50 years, day at a time, God willing.
We got to get that now. That actually, we are recording, by the way. However, we're doing like I told you. We're gonna do a slow roll, a 20-mile-an-hour roll. We're gonna.
No, I'm just getting some stuff, getting you guys comfortable with me, getting me comfortable with you.
Yeah.
So I told you that's kind of how we roll. I mean, we kind of get in and we get to know each other, and then we kind of like get into it. Now, Greg is going to be the straight guy who keeps us on point. Okay.
Try to.
He's going to have like good questions. He's going to be smart, articulate. He's going to be clever. I, on the other hand, who knows? But I will always be respectful. And if there's something that comes out that you're not comfortable with, we can take it off. But I don't think that will happen.
Well, I'm a very serious person.
Good.
No, I'm not.
I don't think you are either. What part of New York you from?
Brooklyn.
Oh, nice.
Oh, this is Brooklyn Mason.
Brooklyn looks a lot different than when anybody was there. Right now, it's all gentrified.
Oh, where I live, my mother lived in a rent-controlled apartment building, and we had 4 of us living in the house. My brother and my parents, and they slept on a convertible sofa. And she lived there till the day she died.
Nice. Rent controlled, man. So she could afford to live there forever.
Hey, they're bringing that back, by the way, with the superstar politics they got going in.
Yeah, right.
Ugh.
I don't want to discuss politics. Even my sponsor has a different view, so I'm not going to.
It's okay.
Yeah.
When I think about New York, it gets a little jaded. Although I love going to New York at Christmas time, but I hate the idea that a lot of the old school family businesses and that the neighborhoods, you go to the place for pizza, they've been making pizza for 100 years. And that's just such a treasury to the entire country.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree. I love it in Christmas time. And I'm always glad when I leave.
Me too. I'm like a couple days later, I'm like, I gotta get the hell out of here. Love it though.
I can't imagine if that guy gets elected. I just can't fathom any of that.
Well, things are going up and then things are going down, so we got to figure it out. There's a balancing act going on right now.
For sure.
But I do believe, I don't know, man. I'm always optimistic. I think we got a lot of great things going.
Yeah. Well, we have to be optimistic. I mean, we're not a glum lot. We're sober. Everything's great. I mean, life is great. Sober is a great life hack. Why would you not be optimistic if you don't have drugs and alcohol in your system? It's the only thing that brought me down ever. I was a happy guy till all that shit came around.
No matter how I'm feeling, good or bad, I always feel better after a meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Helping out new guys, man. That's another thing I want to touch on is I want to maybe quiz them a little bit about sponsorship over the years.
Sure.
And we definitely want to consider putting together an old timers panel where we get some old guys in here. Like I want to be the youngest amount of sobriety in the room. And I think he's probably got some connections, but
Yeah.
I think it would be cool to get some perspectives on the way AA has changed
Yeah.
over time and where we're at today, and how do we maintain a solid direction, and how do we pass this torch on, like they talk about, like the younger guys, like I'm pretty strong in that department. I don't even use the 12 and 12 or anything. I use it my sponsor did the steps before they had a 12 and 12, and Hazelden wasn't even born yet. Hazel didn't even have a drink yet.
Yeah, we used in New York. They focused on the 12 and 12 for doing your steps, and I could never understand that book. I mean, I would read the fourth step, and I'd say, what the hell are these people talking about? I couldn't get it. But in about 5-6 years ago, I went through the first 88 pages of the big book with my current sponsor.
Oh, cool.
And we went, because when I started out, I said, those steps are not in that book. You show me where those steps are. They're not in there.
They're in the big book, aren't they, Greg?
But that was the New York attitude.
Yeah.
Yep. And I didn't know anything about Mrs. Jones and Mr. Jones and
Mr. Brown and Why You're Angry.
yeah.
Yeah.
They told me, take a piece of paper, draw a line down the center, put your pros on one side, your cons on the other, and that's your fourth step. And then fold it up, put it in an envelope, put it in a drawer, and don't look at it for 6 months because it's not an action step. Now, people may agree or disagree with that, but I feel that was worked for me at the time.
Hey, it's almost like any book. It comes with interpretation. It just depends on who's reading it.
Right.
And can be all these other books that are known for being famously misinterpreted.
Well, when I came in, I kind of was in trouble, in a lot of trouble. I went out Christmas shopping in November. It was 19.
Wait a minute. When you say trouble, what are we talking about here?
I took my father's car and I drank a pint of scotch and took a couple of 2-and-alls and went to the mall shopping. And then I couldn't find his car, so I drove. Unfortunately, I did find it. And I drove 2 blocks and I drove the car through somebody's front porch.
Oh, that'll get you in trouble
And
every
then
time.
all these people came out of these houses and they were, looking, and I'm trying to put the car in reverse. It's up on a 45-degree angle.
Oh.
And then at that time, the cops there were no DUIs, DWIs. They just said, I was trying to start the car and go in reverse. And they said, are you okay? I said, yeah, I hit my head. I'm dizzy. And I told him to call my father, and he came down, and when the car was totaled, and when we went home, he said, you either go to AA or get the hell out of this house. And I said, it was November. I had no job, no money, no car. I said, okay, I'll go to AA.
Yeah. Nice.
But I didn't want it.
Yeah.
I didn't want it.
Well, you saved yourself a lot of pain. I call it the girlfriend, Pam. Pain, agony, and misery. That's my acronym for.
Yeah.
You saved yourself a lot of Pam.
Did. You did.
Well, it took about 6 months to get to the point that I wanted it. See, before that time, I've always been like a conniver. So, I try to find ways around things. So I didn't, I was looking for one excuse to get out,
Yeah.
And I didn't want to join any religion. I wasn't going to read your 12-step books. I wasn't going to do your prayers.
Oh.
I didn't want God. I didn't want any higher power. And that was my mantra for 6 months. And I was still in charge.
Love that.
Still doing it my way. And then this guy who became my first sponsor, he said to me, well, I said, I'm here to turn myself in. And he said, no, we don't do it like that. We just, if you say you're a member, you're a member.
Yep.
You don't have to sign yourself in. There's no sign-in sheets. And then he said to me, and he said this to me over and over again. The only thing you have to do, because I was, if you tell me one thing I have to do, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And all he said was, you think you could not pick up a drink for the rest of the day and go to another meeting? And that was the only thing I would agree to. And you know what? They said 90 meetings in 90 days. Not for me. I'm not doing that. I
Right.
can make that commitment. But what happened was when you get 90 days, you have some sobriety in the bank. And when you have some sobriety in the bank, you don't want to let go of it. You got 2, 3 days, a couple of weeks. You know, and when I came in, I was in trouble. I looked at that first step and I said, my life's unmanageable. And yes, I'll do anything you tell me. And then 2 weeks later, I was like, the hell with this. I'm not.
I hear you. I didn't know it's precious. It's my first million. When I made a decision to be sober and take this direction in life, it didn't matter what you did or said to me at that point. I was sober. I mean, it's the way it was.
Yeah.
But I had to get to I had to be softened and pliable and amenable. I was like, you know, when they waterboard you? I waterboarded myself, actually, I think. You know what I mean? That's where I ended up. Just, you know, yes, I'll tell you whatever you want to know.
Looking for the shortcuts.
Oh my God.
I still do that. I still end up, making things harder for myself. And that's why I need to keep going to meetings, even today, because there's no graduation.
No.
It's still a day. I need meetings today as much as I did 49 plus years ago.
Well, that leads me into I think we're about ready to rock and roll.
I was going to say
because we got some good stuff going here. I don't want to lose all this juice. And it's like the gravy, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know,
Yes.
I want to sop this up.
Right. So the wise man spitting those yarns with us right now is our main man, Babyface Mason from Brooklyn, who's here today. 39 years of sobriety. So, Mason, if you want to give your sobriety date and maybe just keep spinning some of these yarns, let's just keep it going. How you doing today? You doing good?
I'm doing great.
You look great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I got that nickname Babyface when I came in because I was 20 years old and everybody else was old.
Yeah. Shit.
And my name's Mason. I'm an alcoholic, and my sobriety date is April 19th, 1976.
Wow. Good to see you, Mason. Hey, man, 49 years sober, that's longer than most of us have been making bad decisions. Let's give it up for a true recovery OG.
Yes. Mason, thanks for being here. So how long have you been down here in the Florida area?
We moved down here in 2000. My current wife, which we are celebrating our 29th wedding anniversary tomorrow.
Nice. Congratulations.
And we met in the room,
All right.
and she's a model of the program,
Yeah.
where I'm sometimes not so glorious.
Now, I got to have breakfast with these two, and she's a pistol, man, and she's got a good program, too. I really enjoyed it. I met them in a meeting, and I'm like, I grabbed this guy, and next thing you know, I'm having breakfast with these two. And that's the beauty of this program, is that you can you get to meet all these fascinating characters and hear all these great stories.
Yeah.
You know, I'm definitely feel honored that you came here, and I think it's crazy, but whenever you ask somebody in this program to do something to help in any way, because I think he felt like what we're doing is going to help somebody at some point.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm in. It's like he's like all in, and like maybe one of the most easiest guests to get on the show. I was like, damn, love this guy. Perfect. Now we got to get his wife on next. She's really awesome.
Well, thank goodness we do know that we are reaching some people. We do have close to 13,000 followers now, and we do have people that call the phone number and reach out on Facebook, and they check out the daily meditations and the Shenanigang.
Yeah,
we're all out there, and we thank them for listening and following. And it's kind of turned into a little something. And really, we started the whole thing just to try to help one person. If someone heard it and thought we could help them, that's the whole reason we did it. Just trying to be of service, So. Well, why don't you take us back to when you first came in and you were Babyface? And I know you had some guys up there in Brooklyn with some great nicknames. And why don't you tell us about your early meetings and things of that nature?
Well, the early meetings, I remember every time I looked around, and actually even today I look around and I open my eyes and I look and I see old people, primarily older people. And so the mix hasn't changed much as far as old versus young, but that's not what's important. What's important is when you get to the rooms, getting to the point that you want to get sober,
Yeah, absolutely.
because I didn't want to get sober at first. I wanted to get out of trouble,
Yeah.
and that was the only reason I came. And when the trouble started to go away, so did I. I didn't go to meetings, but I met a guy, and his name was Jerry. We called him Reverend Jerry because he was very strong in his talking about the program. I don't want to say he was a preacher, but he wasn't.
He had a lot of faith.
He had a lot of good program.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And he told me not to worry about, because I was looking for any excuse to get out. I said that before. He told me I had to pray. I wasn't going to pray. He told me I had to go to 90 meetings in 90 days. Forget about it. If I read the steps. No, I'm not reading your big books, your cult stuff. And they passed the basket. I thought I was back in church.
You went full New York on him. You never go full New York.
I had to. I still do. But all this guy, Jerry, told me was just try not to drink for the rest of the day and go to another meeting.
Right.
And when you get some time, 3 months, 6 months, then it starts becoming valuable to you. See, and that's what happened to me. I got some time, and then you don't want to throw it out that quickly. It's
Sure.
it's like having a bank account. You build up a bank account, and then you say, "Well, I'm not going to throw this money away." And that's kind of what stuck with me. But they kept it very simple, just like in the third tradition, where it states the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking.
Mhm.
And I quote that all the time when I chair a meeting, because when I came in, it was 1976. I grew up in New York, Brooklyn, and when we were going to the city, we said we were going to Manhattan. Well, in the 70s, it was like anything goes. You could get
yeah.
you could get any kind of drug.
It was
Alcohol.
encouraged, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the drinking age was 18. So,
Oh, yeah.
but I found somebody's license on a Greyhound bus coming home from Bear Mountain. And I said, ooh, that sounds just like me. So I was getting into bars at 16.
Damn. Do you remember the name on the license?
I don't want to disclose because I do.
The statutes of limitations have worn off, I can promise you.
Yeah.
Esteban Fisher.
Oh, I love it.
Nice. What a great alias.
Wow, Esteban.
Yeah, but I didn't know how to act.
My next hotel under that. Esteban Fisher.
I didn't know how to act in bars, because I'd go in and order a drink, and then I'd order another one, like a slow gin fizz, or I don't even know what they were, but and the bartender said, "You going to pay for that now?" I didn't realize you had to pay as you go. That's 16.
Right.
Anyway.
You probably thought, well, they give you a tab when you leave, or put it on credit, or
I'm imagining they didn't screw around in the mid 70s in New York. The bars were probably they were pretty rough back then.
These were neighborhood corner bars
Yeah.
where draft beer was 25 cents.
Nice. So, yeah.
So 4 of those at Bucky could get
yeah,
a buzz on.
feeling all right.
But why I bring up the 70s, well, that's because that's when I got sober. But the fact was that I used a lot of different chemicals.
Do tell. We don't have any harbor any prejudice here.
Well, I liked everything. I liked amphetamines. I liked
Nice.
LSD,
Sure.
marijuana, hashish,
More.
Quaaludes, Tuinol, Secanols, you name it.
Some lemon 714s.
Uh,
Some roar.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And those. So when I came into AA, I was like, AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. Well, this Reverend Jerry told me, he said, you treat alcohol as just another drug. He said, all drugs, just stay away from all mind-altering substance.
Mind-altering stuff. Yeah.
Because there was no NA when I came in. There was nothing other. AA was the only avenue at that time. And I'm glad because the spirituality of Alcoholics Anonymous is something that it had to grow on me, but it's so enmeshed. I'm not enmeshed, but I feel it all the time.
Yeah, it's a part of you now. It's a part of your being. It's a part of your whole makeup. You're like, you've been sober so long that it encompasses every part of every day. You're just, you're grateful that it still does, because you probably know guys that it never took. You probably know quite a few guys it never took.
Quite a few, and that's the sad part. But it's the kind of thing you can't carry the drunk. You gotta take care of yourself. My sponsor came. I called him, and I had just finished chairing that Sunday morning meeting, and it was about 12:30, and I said something to him that I was off or, not feeling good, and he came over there. He was driving his motorcycle, and he came over to the meeting, met me, and told me, you can listen to what I have to say or not. He says, because I'm here to help me. Meaning he was the spot, so that's what we're doing. We're helping ourselves more than when we're trying to help another alcoholic. I mean, so I don't look at it as like a win or lose with a newcomer, because I'm helping myself.
Yeah.
That's how we do it. We carry the message.
I probably say that a little bit more often. Like, if want to know how if I'm successful sponsoring somebody, it's because I stayed sober. And the byproduct is I've seen guys stay sober as a result, and I love it. But man, I love this, and if it means that I gotta, and actually the sponsoring thing it's a gift. At first it was like a chore, like, yeah, I do this, and because that's what I'm told to do. And now I really feel like it's a gift, man. It's such an opportunity for me to grow, because I have to go back to the steps too. If you're doing it right, I think I'm not necessarily writing out a 4-step, but I'm definitely going back to the whole book. And it's all brand new. It's good.
Well, I was just glad that my first sponsor, Reverend Jerry, told me, just stay away from all mood-altering substances, because that would have, I would be dead. I wouldn't be alive today.
I think that we can be powerless over way more than just alcohol. I mean, it's just a symptom, but there's so many more things that impact us. I mean, I can say nicotine, and I can say food, and I can say sex, gambling. I mean, anything that makes me feel good, forget it. I'm like, I know it will kill me. If it makes me feel too good, I'll abuse the hell out of it.
Spending money.
So that's
Yeah, we have addictive personalities. We fill one thing with another. A lot of people, when they quit drinking, they go right to sugar, or which is in all the meetings. There's lots of sugar in every meeting just to help you get through the cravings or whatever. But we have addictive personalities, and we don't know how to turn them off. So rarely do we get addicted to working out, eating right, the things that make us feel better, until we get sober enough to make those decisions. At least in my case. When I first came in, I just stopped drinking. I really didn't want to stop anything else, kind of like you were saying, until it was made known to me the same thing, that you're supposed to stop all mind-altering substances if you're going to do the program correctly. And if you're going to do anything, you might as well do it correctly. Like my wife always says, don't do it half-ass, do it whole-ass. So that's what we should be doing. I mean, you got one life. You might as well live it to the best of your ability.
Yeah, there's no question about it. I wouldn't be sitting here today talking to you guys the way I was going. I mean, my parents told me that my skin was yellow, my eyes were yellow, and I was 20 years old.
Wow. Yeah, I admire that. that hardcore early, you know, because it's tough. I remember, man, like, what am I going to do when I get married? What am I going to drink?
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there were so many other things like that in my life that I hadn't even experienced yet. I'd never been to a prom, you know?
They wouldn't let me go to mine.
Well, I dropped out of school, but there was like so many things that other people had, like that was just a rite of passage. For me, AA was my rite of passage. Sounds like it was yours too. Like I was, you know, I had to learn how to become a man and a human, part of society, because I was not having it when I was drinking. They were not having me either.
No.
So
Well, one of the things I remember that turned me off in the beginning was they always say, "Stick around till the miracle happens." And I said, "Look, I don't believe in any of this miracle stuff. You know, just get away from me." But you know, it and talk about learning things later. It was about 5, 6 years ago with my current sponsor. We used to call him California Joe, but now lives in Texas, so we call him Texas Joe.
okay,
But he lives down here too, part time. Anyway, what he would tell me is, we went through the first 88 pages of the big book, and we read it together. And on page 85, where it says what the miracle. Well, here's how I found out. I pick a guy up, a new guy, to go to a meeting. And he comes out of the house and he says to me, I had my convertible car then, and it was a nice day. And he says, "You know, Mason, you're a miracle." And I looked at him and I said, "You know, Kevin, you're a miracle." And then we went to the meeting, and the the topic was the miracle of AA. So I Googled it.
Yeah.
And what it said, it's page 85 of the big book. You know, that the problem has been removed. It no longer exists for us, so long as we stay in fit spiritual condition. And I said, wow, you know, that's it. Because I don't think about it. It doesn't enter my mind. It's like it's been removed, and I know that. So, and the way I stay in fit spiritual condition is by getting to as many meetings as I can a week as possible.
you know, I'm able to grab a quote from page 85 because technology is wonderful. Anyway, and I've been having a little bit of a battle with my AI. I'll talk about that maybe later, but it's not good.
You're losing, which is the worst part.
I'm giving it a second chance, but I tried to fire it this morning. It wasn't. It outsmarted me again.
Yeah.
He doesn't like AI.
Oh, he uses it too much. He's enwrapped, and that and the Chat GPT is unbelievable.
Oh, I had a blast this morning.
So
Anyway, so every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will into all of our activities. How can I best serve thee? Thy will, not mine, be done. These are thoughts which must go with us constantly. We can exercise our willpower along this line all we wish. It is the proper use of will. I mean, there's more, but it was popping.
No, that's my favorite page of the book.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because that just says it all. You know, it's a daily reprieve.
What's interesting is because I just was realizing like how much concentration of the steps are in those like 30 to 85. It's like, you know, you're going and going on and on and on through step 1. And then, but all of a sudden you're at step 3, 4, 5, and it's like, boom, it's like, bam. It's a real quick process, but it's detailed. There's a lot of information to unpack, but it's really concise and clear. And it doesn't need, I don't know, I guess you can keep digging and looking for other ways to do it, but I really like the way it's laid out. It's slick.
Yeah, we did the 4th step. He had me write it down. So I didn't go back to the very beginning, but I went back 25, 30 years, let's say. And when I did the 5th step with him, he looked at me and he said, "Now you can forgive yourself."
Nice.
And you know what? I started crying because nobody had ever said that to me before. I never heard that before. That now you can forgive yourself.
Yeah.
and we said
Wow.
whatever the prayer is.
The 7 stump or
Yeah.
the 3rd?
The 5th.
Okay, forget sorry.
I'm not sure what it is, but we said something.
There's a 7-step prayer, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah.
But it was amazing. I never had felt that before. I had goosebumps.
That's awesome.
So, Mason, back in the day, back in the 70s, so there weren't apps, there wasn't chats and stuff like that. How did you find other meetings? How did you find other alcoholics?
Well, we had the you had Intergroup. That's how my father found my first meeting.
Yep.
And he took me there, and they recommended to him just to drop me off and not go in with me. So, and that was probably good advice. So, and he knew
Yeah.
he knew about AA. But anyway, you'd had word of mouth. There were meetings where I lived you could walk to. Thank God, because I had no car, no money. So I could walk. There were meetings 7 days, 7 nights out of the week, and you could walk to them, and that was the beauty part.
I imagine it was a great culture too in New York in the mid-70s for AA.
Oh yeah, we had every year our group had a group anniversary with a dance and a DJ, and it was it was a lot of fun. We got involved. I said, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? What am I going to do for fun?
Right.
And these guys showed me. I mean, we got involved with a rehab up in Monroe, New York, and they had picnics every summer,
Nice.
and we used to go up there and help, cook the food, serve the people that were there, and it was just like we were like a solid group. We used to ride around in my buddy's 1974 Mercury Cougar, red. It was a red car.
Nice.
Yeah, it was sharp. And all he liked to listen to was Fats Domino,
Oh my God.
And-
Blueberry Hill.
Blueberry Hill. He was an Irish guy.
So we've noticed that in the last few years, the anonymous part has kind of gone away a little bit, where it's not, you've got people out there saying they're sober, you got celebrities, you got TV shows, you got movies now all talking about it. Back in the 70s, was there more of a kind of a stigma socially where you guys didn't out each other, you didn't tell people in public, hey, I'm in AA? It was really more of a secret society dealio?
Well, when I started going to meetings, I was actually afraid if I went into a room and I saw somebody that I knew in the rooms,
Right.
because what are they going to think they're going to think I'm an alcoholic or something,
Right.
But I did meet some people that I went to high school with, and they came into the rooms, and then there were even neighbors in the apartment building that came into the rooms. Whether they were successful or not
Yeah.
is, I don't know, but
Yeah, there was not a good time to be sharing your recovery with other people. It just was so little known. But now, I mean, today, it's almost like, thank God, oh, he's sober. Oh, thank God. Like there's somebody.
Well, there was almost a perception of weakness back in the day, where now it's a perception of strength to be sober, I think.
Yeah.
And it reinforces. I was talking to someone the other day who quit drinking recently. We had the same conversation as, when he first stopped, he was on himself. He was like, oh, I'm weak. I can't handle this. I must be a weak person. And then after a little bit of sobriety and a few meetings and stuff, he realized, no, I'm the strong one. I've taken the steps to stop this behavior that's killing me and killing my family and killing everything around me. That's the strong thing to do. The weak thing to do would be to continue that situation until everything was gone. So I just, I think I wasn't sober in the 70s. Hell, I was barely born. So I'm just wondering, kind of how it's changed, or what kind of progress or regress that you've seen in the program. I mean, obviously it's gone from, let's say, 100,000 people then to every country now.
Right.
So are there some definitive things that you've seen change for the better in the last 40 years?
I would say definitely yes. Now, when I got sober, I was just starting life. You know?
Right.
So
Primo too.
job, career. What am I going to do for the rest of my life? I still say that sometimes. What am I going to do when I grow up? But it was the kind of thing where if you went to, you got a job, you didn't say, oh, and by the way, I'm an alcoholic. I'm recovering. If you go to office parties or special events for business, whatever, and they'd have alcohol, and you just the thing I didn't like about it was whenever you went to one of these events, or if you went to a bar or something for something other than getting drunk,
Right.
I'd always order Diet Coke, and they'd bring that out in a mug with a straw. Now I'm trying to be
Cool.
incognito,
Incognito, yeah.
and here I am. What do you got there? Oh, I got a Diet Coke.
There's Shirley Temple or Roy Rogers.
So that was the only thing I didn't like when I
Yeah.
in the beginning. But I would never disclose. I would never disclose my anonymity, or maybe that's not the right way to word it. But I would never disclose that I was a recovering alcoholic. I had a guy. I traveled for a job for 3 years, and every once in a while we'd join up with another team member, and we'd have dinner. And this one guy was always saying to me, I'm going to get you to have a beer.
Right.
And I say, no, you're not. Hey, nah. And then we'd eat, and then he'd say, how about a glass of wine? I'd say, no, you're not. He said, well, and I wouldn't tell him anything else. And he kept going and going. And finally he said, oh, you're one of those? I said, yeah, I'm one of those. Whatever those were, I don't know, but I'm one of those. Because I had to protect my sobriety.
Sure.
Right.
And that's how I did it, by remaining anonymous at, public events. That
I try to get people to
Yeah.
give me the money instead. Somebody wants to buy me a drink, could you just give me the money instead? I'll have the $28 glass of wine.
well, you get the $12 bottle of Perrier. And they don't know the difference. But you were going back, the question you asked earlier, about the anonymity and
Yeah.
and well, how to find meetings. I
Right.
mean, when we traveled, we went on vacations. I went on vacations, so you had to get out in the hotel, get out the yellow
Phone book?
the
Yeah,
phone
yellow
book.
book.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
the
Yellow
phone
pages.
book.
The
Yeah.
phone book. Yeah.
It was like, thicker than a Bible. And then you'd look up Alcoholics Anonymous,
Yep.
and then you would call the number on a rotary phone.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you'd get in touch with if it was a local intergroup or, general, whatever they had in the area. And then they would tell you, oh, there's a meeting up there and quite 5 miles from where you're at. And you just go and go up there, and I'll be there. Charlie, tell him Charlie's here.
Wow. That's a pretty good impersonation of
Yeah.
Charlie. I like that Charlie voice. It's good.
You were vacationing somewhere in Kentucky?
Uh,
You were south of the Mason-Dixon line, obviously.
I like Kentucky. I'm sorry.
I do too.
Good people.
But anyway, so that's how you found meetings,
Gotcha.
And then you would get the paper where and when,
Right.
which is usually outdated. But meetings didn't switch much. They were pretty solid, especially in New York. I mean, my first group was the Kingsway group, and it was the oldest group in, I think I'll say Brooklyn, but it was the oldest group in that area. And
Wow.
we sat in it was in a grade school, and they had the little desk with the where you one piece, so you'd have to crunch up and sit in there, and we had most meetings in New York. They had 2 meetings a week. They had an open speakers meeting and a step meeting, and there was no limit on the time for a step meeting. So our step meetings, we would get to everybody in the room. So sometimes the meetings would run an hour and a half, an hour and
Oh, wow.
45 minutes, but you did get a smoking break in between.
That's right, the goddamn smoking break.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys do a lot of churches or what? I mean, in New York, I imagine the churches.
Church basements.
Did they have any clubhouses for the program, or did those come later?
They came in the 80s. They had
Okay.
actually the one that I went to where they had music and dancing was at the old it was in Greenwich Village, and what the heck was the name of that place? I actually, when I was still out there, when I was just starting, I saw Sly and the Family Stone play there, because my buddy and I used to lie and say we were going to sleep over each other's houses, and then we'd get on the subway and go into Manhattan and, go Electric Circus. That was the name of it.
Wow.
Electric Circus. And they turned it into a sober club. And they had these holes in the walls, like they looked like sewer.
Manhole covers?
No, they were like not a culvert, but it was a carpeted area, and it was a circle, and you could go in sitting there with
I
people,
gotcha.
other people. It was like getting close to your whoever's.
Yeah.
Wow. I kind of like that.
I like the name Electric Circus for a sobriety place.
We need to
A lot
open
of loony bins
We need
in
to
here.
open a club like that. Bring back some of that old school New York
Sure.
hip hop.
I think it's cool how your dad knew about the program and to get you in back in the 70s, because this started in like 32. So it's about 40 years old at that point. So it has a reputation of helping people. One of my favorite things about the whole program, which is what I always say, is that when I first came in, any doubts I had when I realized it had been around almost 100 years, it gave me some solace thinking, well, it must work. Otherwise, it would have been flushed out years ago. So whether my thinking was, listen, I'm not that religious, don't give me the miracle, don't give me the God thing, don't do this. What it did do is it survived that long. So it must have helped. Even though I knew nothing about it, I knew that's where I had to be. And the funny thing is, at least my situation was, I almost did the same thing. I didn't go to a phone book, but I had no idea where to go. So I Googled AA and in my section of Florida, and it took me to an AA shop on US 19 up in the Tarpon Springs area. And there was the guy, Rich, just sitting in there around some books. And I walked in and I go, I don't know what to do, man. What do we do here? And he sat me down and just talked to me. He let me just talk. And I bawled, I cried. I didn't know, I was at the bottom. I had no other recourse of anything to do. I was losing it all. And he said, there's a meeting right down the street, and go to that meeting, start there. And he gave me a big book, and I tried to pay him for it. And he said, no, you can have it. So, if you want to find it, you can find it. And, it's pretty cool that you could go to a town, open a Yellow Pages and call a number, and there's, a guy, tell him I sent you, or I'll see you there.
Right.
Or do you
that's
need
pretty
it,
awesome.
or can somebody come and pick you up?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was a little more full service. They didn't have like these swanky ass treatment centers. You know what I mean? You got some guy coming in there. A lot of times they travel in twos, and they may even bring a little whiskey with them, just in case you're a little shaken. They bring you a little hit, a little pop, just to keep you from detoxing.
I've been on several 12-step calls where we had to stop and get a pint or a few beers just to get the guy into the halfway house or wherever he was going.
Stop him from shaking and shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the old days, the 12-step call, man. Those were galvanizing tool. It was a great tool, in my opinion, of how this whole thing worked. Because if you went on enough of those and you saw what it was like, you didn't want to go back to that.
Right.
Because you were hitting some pretty low bottoms, and you were being exposed. Now the treatment centers have kind of commandeered a lot of that education that really helped a lot of people back then. I think that would be my thought, was like why a lot of people back then stayed sober. Because I think Sandy Beach, when we talked about it,
Right.
he would talk about how there's like, in like this county we live in now, and there's like 800 meetings a week, and there's, you know, meditation, there's this, there's step. And he said, you know, back in the day they had one meeting a week. So you had to like pray for 6 days until the next meeting got there. And he goes like, nowadays you don't even have to pray.
Right. No, it's beautiful. I remember when I was still living in New York, and I went. We heard Lois Wilson was still alive, and found out that she was speaking at an Al-Anon meeting at the same location my home group met. So I went to that Al-Anon meeting. I met Lois Wilson, and just as like you and I are talking,
Right.
I was talking with Lois Wilson.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. She's talking about Bill and riding all over the country. She was the one driving the motorcycle most of the time.
Shit.
Really?
Yep.
I always thought that was fascinating. We were reading the story a couple weeks ago about Bill, and then Lois had to be a badass. I mean, she took off with this drunk on a motorcycle with a sidecar and went camping and tried to get their life together. I mean, they don't make women like that.
And then after we know she drove.
Yeah. No wonder she started Al-Anon. I mean, they just don't make them like that.
Or drove a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I always think it's amazing when we read the stories that Bill being a drunk and losing his job and all this, but he always traveled. Like somehow he was always going places. Like, how do you go places on no money and no job? That is resourceful as hell. And maybe it's because they drove a motorcycle with a sidecar, and all you had to do was fill it with, you know, $4 of gas, and you could go from New York to Connecticut.
$4 would have filled up an ocean.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh yeah,
It's
like a nickel a gallon.
yeah, it's you know, this comparisons between before coming in the rooms and what I considered fun,
Right.
and after coming in the rooms and what I still today consider fun. And yeah, I go back. I have a friend. He lives in North Carolina, and he was since grade school. We still talk to each other. As a matter of fact, he wrote me this beautiful letter about a year ago, saying how he was so happy for me and admired my sobriety. He's not one of us. Well, he probably is, but the thing is, since like the 7th, 8th grade, we were the two that we lie and say we were sleeping in each other's house, and we get on the subway and go to Manhattan and get high, and you know, it was. But we go to all these great concerts. Half of them I don't remember. He would tell me later, you know, about we went to see Jimi Hendrix, and I don't even remember it. You know, and Jimi Hendrix walked off stage after the first song. He was so drunk and high, and but you know, those kind of memories. We talk about them, we laugh about them, but he knows I don't use
Right.
my friend, and
Sure.
and that's the beauty part, and he respects that, and I have to show you this letter sometimes. I told him I was going to frame it. I never did, but I told him
That's so cool. I mean, I've always been a little envious of New Yorkers, of the just cultural aspect of being around all of that, you know. And I've always wanted to kind of explore the underground, the underbelly, and do the weird stuff that you think they're doing. I always wanted to be a part of that, you know. Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it was always like super cool. I mean, and moving to Florida. Somehow a lot of New Yorkers found their way down to Florida for some reason. I guess it's the highway that you know. So a lot of my friends were from there.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
well, we took a trip. His name's Howie.
Howie.
But we took a trip from New York to Miami, and we took the train. We took Amtrak because he said it's $50 less than flying. So we brought a big record player, you know,
Nice.
vinyl records, and we stayed at this hotel with all these crazy young people, you know. But you know, we can talk about it. We can laugh about it, but it's not. I don't miss it. You know, I don't miss that getting high feeling. It's not it's not there anymore.
I get it, but
Yeah.
it still would be cool. Like, how cool would it be to go on a train with a record player and records
It's fantastic.
to go to Miami
I
from New
like
York?
everything about it.
I know you do. I can
It's
see.
fucking great.
I want to do it. I don't have to get drunk at all.
I got a record player and records at home right now. I want to go somewhere with them.
Yeah, we had them cranked up at the hotel too.
Yeah, I bet you guys were popular. That's how you get attention. That's how you get the girls. You travel with your own music like that.
I had cassettes, I think, by the time I was coming around, maybe an 8-track.
No, for sure. No, 8-tracks were fading out. We had cassettes. Yeah.
Oh, I started with 8-tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I installed one in my car, and then we went out for the night, and I got held up, and they thought I was out to buy drugs,
Yeah.
and we ended up meeting somebody in Times Square, and he took us uptown,
Oh, geez.
and we got out of the car, and 5 guys, one guy stuck a knife in my back and a gun in my friend's back and said, give us your money. And I don't know why they believe this, but I said, well, we just got robbed. I don't have anything. But when I got back to the car, the cassette, the 8-track was gone. All my 8-track tapes were gone. But that was way before I even thought about getting sober.
Yeah. I used to steal those things out of cars back in the suburbs of Detroit. Good times.
Yeah. Before you were running the mob down there in Siesta Key, Sanibel. Yeah. Well, speaking of Lois Wilson, that brings me around to our sober celebrity quote of the day. Mason has chosen one of the 2 founders of AA for his celebrity quote. And it was Dr. Bob, who was dying. And Dr. Bob said to Bill Wilson right before he died, he was eloquent. He said, Bill, let's not louse this thing up. Let's keep it simple. I think that's a fantastic quote. You're the first guest who's chosen a celebrity, a founder of AA as a quote to use. And I think it's fantastic, Mason. That's a good one. What does that quote mean to you? How does that speak to you?
It means that we have to welcome the newcomer. We have to provide a place for them to feel comfortable, to feel that it's solid, that they're not going to be railroaded or taken advantage of, that the only thing that I'm there for is to offer them help.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that in a grandiose way, because what I could have said was we offer them a program or a fellowship of recovery,
Yeah.
of something that works,
Yeah.
if you let it. But like I tell everybody that when I talk to a newcomer, I thought Primo was a newcomer the other day because he said he was starting over, so I was going to go through the big book with him.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I still am a newcomer, by the way.
We all are. But it's kind of like a lot of people need this program, but you have to want it for it to work. And that was drilled into me right from the beginning. And that's why I feel we got to stick to the basics. We got to let people know that they're welcome in the rooms, that they're not different. Because everybody thinks I'm different. I'm not like you people. See?
Yeah.
But
They do.
yeah. So we gotta be open. We have to be friendly. I'm talking about me.
Yeah.
But that's my view of what Dr. Bob was saying. Don't get off into all these other areas because we're not psychiatrists, we're not doctors. I'm not a philosopher or anything. I'm just a drunk that has been granted the grace of another day of sobriety.
Yeah.
So I like to, in New York and a lot of groups down here too, we had greeters, people that would stand by the door and say, hi, welcome,
Right.
welcome. My first sponsor told me, when I didn't even have 90 days, he said, go in the room, stand by the coffee pot, and when someone new comes up to, not even new, someone comes up to the coffee pot, say, hi, my name's Mason, and I'm an alcoholic. you didn't have to say that because I wasn't willing, but at the beginning.
Yeah.
But you'd say hello, and I did that, and you know what? It helps because I want to pass it on as a legacy for anyone that they can get help, that no one's excluded.
Nice.
Wow.
That was very well put. Primo, what do you got for that?
I gotta say, I really appreciated the quote, and Dr. Bob was definitely, just like in every partnership, he was the put his head down and work guy. He sponsored a ton of guys, and he carried this message. When he wasn't practicing medicine, he was doing this full time, and and I think Bill W was more of the social butterfly of the group, and he was the worker, man. And my feeling is that when they talk about not screwing it up, there were so many different things coming at them that they had to kind of batten down the hatches and not get distracted, because there was money making opportunities, there was this, that, and there was things popping and going in different directions. They could open their own treatment centers, and they just, they collectively, and I think the first 100 people collectively made a decision to really keep it simple and to not let the world take this thing away from us, because it was divinely inspired. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know that he was a remarkable, and then when back in those days, you went through the steps quick, and it was like you were, and then you were helping other people. There was none of this laying around feeling sorry for yourself shit.
Nope.
None of that. And it was get off your ass and go help somebody. If you're not feeling good, you need to be helping somebody else, not worrying about your problem. Go fix somebody else's. Somehow your problem will get better.
Yeah.
And that's the way they, it was, there was some tough love.
Yeah, and I can say it's just as much work for me today to keep myself on the beam, so to speak, because we had a lot of people that said that, are you on the beam or off the beam? And I have to work at it every day. Because one thing I know for sure is that this disease, alcoholism, wants me dead, and it'll find any a lot of different ways to get in there, and that's why I have to be constantly vigilant and go to meetings and share, because there's no graduation.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to tell you, the other day when you were at the meeting, and what was really cool, and it made me think about afterwards, like, okay, I went to a new meeting, and all of a sudden I see all these, and I'm like, this whole row of guys, because you made everybody share in sequence, and it was coming to me. I was like, how in the hell am I going to come up with everything? Because these guys were really, there's a lot of winners
Yeah.
coming down the pipe there. And I was like, man, there's some great stuff being shared here this morning. I thought I was going to get a pass, and then it came to me, and it was like, but it made me realize that whole thing, sticking with the winners and sniffing out, and just, I could feel that juju, that energy, that, after a while, you've been around a little bit, you know where to find it, where to get the goods. You know what I mean? It's almost like, how to cop in the hood, same difference, man. You go to a new meeting, you know how to cop that good energy and the stuff that you need for humility and sobriety and the whole thing. So,
Yeah.
Well, we came, the Ozona group came very close to losing their lease on that space,
yeah.
and was given a notice that they weren't going to get their lease renewed. And I came into the meeting one night, and the room was empty. We, all the AA sayings and pictures and
Oh, wow.
the 12 steps, 12 traditions, they were gone. The books were gone. And this was on a Friday night, and I looked around and I said, F this. I've had it. I'm never coming back here again. I'm done with this group. If this is the way they're going to act. And I got in the car. I left the meeting. I got in the car, and someone told me, reach out to the owner of the building.
Oh, wow.
And I know him personally. And I didn't, there was no anger. I said, I texted him and I said, how about we meet for coffee the next day? And he was like conducting an interview with me to see if I was how I was gonna, because 3 other groups had come to him, groups of people, and tried to sign a lease, and they couldn't reach an agreement. And I got some help. I reached out to the right people, professional people, and we got a lease signed.
Nice.
And the basis on that was I wanted to make sure I was going to be able to celebrate my 50th anniversary at that group. and that's what I went with. But everything worked out. And why? Because it was God. It wasn't me, it was God. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in just because I don't even like bringing it up because it's not me, I did it because I want to leave a legacy.
Yes.
Some kind of a legacy that, for the program.
I think you have established your legacy even without that. However, I love the thought of a legacy, which just brings you back to your Dr. Bob quote, really. That was their legacy, and, carry this message, and it now allows it up. That was important to them. Nobody wants you to nobody wants their sandcastle kicked down. You know what I mean? They want to leave that thing alone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great story.
Yeah, I got one more one that raises the hair on my arms. I had a job where I traveled to different cities and stay a week there and do my work and then travel on. But one assignment was in Akron, Ohio. So I made a decision to take a little time and go to Dr. Bob's house. And when I got there, it was the middle of the week. Nobody was there. Door was open. I go up into the doorway, and this woman comes out and looks at me and says, "Welcome home." And I started crying. And I sat in Dr. Bob's table and had cookies and a cup of coffee, and it was just amazing. And I did the tour and watched the movie and all this stuff. But that was that just brought goosebumps to me. Welcome home.
That's
Welcome
awesome.
home.
Wow. That's awesome. Well, listen, if you're having a tough time quitting, whatever it is, you need to quit. You're not alone. There's apps and numbers and groups in your town, or you can call us if you want. Leave us a message, 727-294-4933. Hit us up on Facebook. Taking the first step into a room or a chat or a group with people trying to get better just like you will be the best day of your life. Thank you so much for being here tonight, Mason. Is there something you'd like to finish with? Just one last thing you'd like to leave to our listeners?
I think I've said it all. But all I can say is no matter what, even if you pick up, come back. You'll always be welcome in the rooms.
Nice, nice. Primo, what do you got for today? What's your final thought of the day, Prim?
I'm very much happy with this particular episode. I'm divinely inspired. Whatever happened, we got our friend Mason on here. Brooklyn Mason. Was
Babyface.
Babyface Brooklyn Mason was in the house, baby. And you know what? It's a great way to start off season 2. We're getting some rock solid sobriety going here, and I feel like we've got some momentum on our side with this little bit of our legacy that we're projecting into the world of what little bit we can do, and the Shenanigang is showing out, man.
Yeah,
proud of this. I'm proud of it.
They are. Well, thanks for listening to Sober Shenanigans, real talk and real recovery. Worry, anxiety, and fear, it's all up in here. Just give yourself a break. You're enough, and you're doing great. I'm Stauff, and he's Primo. And remember, no drinks today.
Beautiful.
We're all in the same boat, fellas.
But our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really.
You
evil shenanigans.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.